All right, so thanks for coming. My name is Luciana Diniz. I'm at Portland Community College. And last winter, I had a sabbatical when I compiled a website with Corpus Linguistics resources. So my dissertation was on Corpus Linguistics a long time ago, and I hadn't really uh, researched like the new things that had happened between the time I graduated and this year. So then I wanted to see what was new and things that I could use in my classes when I develop materials, design materials. So then I'm gonna share the website with you and the highlights, the things that you can also use in your classes as well. So let me just share so here is the website. I just put it in the chat. And this is what it looks like. So the website is divided into three parts. The first one has word frequency lists, then vocabulary activities, and teaching tools and ideas. This word frequency lists, I really wanted to have one place where I could find a lot of word frequency lists. So then when I was, when I would be preparing materials for my classes, designing materials, I would have them all in one place. So right now, if you try to look for word frequency lists, you're gonna find them in different journals, like a TESOL journal, and you have to pay for it or have your library access it for you. It's very difficult to find. So that I wanted them to be in one place. So this is what it looks like, and I will show you some some highlights. So you can see here general lists, like the most frequent words in COCA, new general service lists. One that I wanted to highlight for you is the most common spoken idioms. So this author, Liu, he was very nice. I contacted him and I said, like you have wonderful work, lots of different frequency lists that we can use, but they are all in journals that we cannot access, teachers cannot access. Can you make the lists available for us? And he did. So he sent me the list. So here is one of them, was published, I believe, in the TESOL journal. And if you look here, um, you can see the most frequent lists used in spoken American English. And let me make it a little bigger here so you can see. So his definition of idioms is very particular. You would have to read his article to see how he selected the idioms, because some of them you will see, oh, these are phrasal verbs, or but he explains in the article how he selected the idioms, and he divided them into three types of genres. So professional speaking would be meetings that people have in workplaces, and then media and lectures, this would be more academic. And then you can see the frequency. So then when you are selecting words and phrases for your students to learn, then this can be a good starting point, like what to prioritize. So you can find it here. One of my favorite ones is actually called FAVE, which is the most common phrasal verbs with common meanings. So if you're teaching phrasal verbs to students, then how to prioritize them. And many phrasal verbs have many different meanings. So which meanings to prioritize with different levels. So if you click on this link here, then when we are on Zoom, things get a little bit slow. So maybe I will have to stop sharing, open it, and then share it again. See, it worked. So you can see here, if you just press the space bar, you can see the different idioms, I mean, not idioms at this time, sorry, phrasal verbs, and the most common ones according to their research, and also their common meanings. So for example, if you have go on is the most common one, then you can see that there are 4 meanings if you look in a dictionary, and these 2 are the most common ones. So then if you are teaching the phrasal verb go on and you have an intermediate level class, this probably should be the meaning that you should prioritize because it's the most common meaning. So you can see here, the number is the order of frequency. So like give up, for example, is number 16. And then you can see that 80% of the time that give up shows up in the corpus, then it has the meaning of stop doing or having something and abandon. Yeah, does it make sense? Like, do you have any questions? Okay, so that is another one. Another one that I really like is the Oxford phrase list. We don't really know what the corpus is. Like I researched and I could not find what the Oxford corpus is composed of, but still it has a really nice list that we can use. And the good thing about it is that when you download it here, uh, they divided it by level. So if you're teaching a more like a beginning class, then those are phrases and expressions that are very commonly found on the corpus, but also are level appropriate for like beginning levels. So it's divided by level. So one way that I've used this is even if when I'm teaching lower level classes like levels 1, 2, and 3 at PCC, and I'm creating like a dialogue for my students, then I can look here and say, oh, I should use a lot. That would be a very common expression that I could use there. You know, like even if the focus of my class is not a lot, but they are starting to be exposed to expressions that are very common and they are frequent. So sometimes trying to come up with our own texts and dialogues, we don't really think about what is common. So this could be a good guide when we are creating dialogues and things in our classes. Even like best friend, right? Best friend would be like very simple for a level 1 or 2 student, and they don't need to know what best, you know, like the superlative or anything, but you could introduce this expression because it is very common. So that is one of my favorites as well. Um, you can also find here academic lists. So here is the most common one, the academic word list, the one that we use until now, right? But it's from the year 2000. But here is the one that the new academic vocabulary list based on COCA, and you can download it for free. So that is another really nice resource. Um, the Oxford Phrasal Academic Lexicon, it's the Oxford Academic English. This one, they actually tell us what the corpus is. It's 71 million words of academic English. And also, if you download it, you will find written phrases and spoken phrases that are very common. So, for example, if you're teaching a communication class, uh, and you want to use some vocabulary, and they also divided them, like categorized them by topic. So then that is something that you can use in communication classes as well. Oh, someone said they don't know what COCA is. COCA is the corpus of American contemporary. Okay, I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but it's the corpus of contemporary English, and it's American English because one of the most common corpora is the BNC, which is the British National English, and then COCA is the American counterpart. So it's a very general corpus. It has different genres like news, academic, spoken language. It's like a general corpus. And when um, the researchers came up with the new academic vocabulary list, they focused only on the academic part of the COCA. And then they saw what they selected what was the most common, like the most common vocabulary from there compared to a general corpus. And so the academic word list that this author created in 2000, and it was like this big thing that happened in our field, is based on articles published in New Zealand. So they are relevant for us, but if you're teaching academic English in the United States, the words from the new academic vocabulary list will probably be more relevant. And there's a lot of overlap too, but it's just and also the way they compiled it is more modern. This corpus is much smaller because it was from 2000 also. All right, and so there are many different types of lists depending on what you are interested in. I think this is the other one that I wanted to point out. Also, the same art author that gave me access to his lists that right now are only published on journals. So he also shared this one that was published on the English for Specific Purposes journal. And it is the most frequently used multi-word constructions in academic writing. So if you're teaching an academic writing class, and these are the most common multi-word expressions that you can find in there. So things to prioritize if you are going to teach academic writing, and then you want to prioritize some expressions. I see. Oh yeah, Rachel, thank you for adding the link in there. Oh, and thanks, a Corpus of Contemporary American English. That's what it stands for. We always say COCA, and then kind of forget what it means. So these are only word lists. You can find the link to COCA and to other websites on the other part of the website. But do you have any questions about word lists? Any ideas? Okay, so then let me show you the second part of the website. So if you go to the home page, so here are the word frequency lists. I put them in its own category because there are so many of them. And then the second one that I wanted to show you is the teaching tools and ideas. So there are also lots and lots of different links that you can explore. You can explore freely available corpora, and COCA is here. There is My Case. My Case is the Michigan Academic Spoken English. So if you want to look for words and in context in academic lectures, that's a good one for you to find, to explore. Are you familiar with Youglish? No, Youglish is awesome. Okay, I need to share with sound so I can here. So Youglish is a corpus of YouTube videos. So if you, and also it has in many different languages. I also teach Portuguese. So then they also have a Portuguese option here. See, there are lots of different languages. And when you select English, then you can also select the variety if you want only US YouTube videos, or UK or Australia. So they have different varieties as well. And I don't know, for example, if you're teaching, I was teaching the word barely this week, so I'll just put it in there. So so then you can see that there are 12,000 videos that they found. And when you start playing them, then it shows you, okay, oops.
And so you're saying we barely have glimpsed what's possible.
And then you go to the next one.
A place that had been barely visited by paleontologists.
Right, so then it shows you, yeah, Zoom doesn't like that I've been sharing sound. So can you still hear me okay? Yeah, okay, it's too much for my computer, I think. But Youglish is great because students can see real authentic examples, and they can also hear different pronunciations of the word. So it's also a really nice resource for us to use, probably with more advanced students, unless you pre-select the examples. And there is a way here that you can pre-select the examples and then save So you can select really simple examples for low intermediate classes, but not for beginners for sure, because it's too hard. But advanced students can use it by themselves. So that is another one. Let's see. Okay, here is another website that is really interesting. Actually, there are several of them under collocation tools. So collocations is when you want to find words that go together, like words that are friends. And here is a really nice one, easy to use. The only thing is that something to be careful about is that it's based on the BNC, which is the British National Corpus. So there may be some words there that you will be like, okay, well, I don't say it like that because it's more common in the British variety, right? But in general, it works pretty well. So the students just put the word in here. Like for example, I had progress. I think that's the one word that I was teaching this week. And then it tells you words that go with it that are friends. One of my students once told me that learning a new word is like making a new friend. And I thought it was really nice because when you get to know a new friend, then you also get to know the friends of your friends. So those are the collocations, and so those are the friends of the friend in here. So you can see prepositions that go with it, phrases in which the word shows up and commonly show up, and that could be a really good resource for advanced students, but also for teachers when you're preparing lessons. You're like, oh, I'm going to teach the word progress. What are the common phrases? I can think of them, like the common phrases in which this word shows up. So this could be a good resource for teachers as well. Another website also that does the same thing, but it's actually easier to see. So it would be better for students, I think. It's called Just the Word. It's the second one under collocation tools. So for example, if you have the word goal here and you click on combinations, then you can see collocations and how frequent they are. So like achieve goal, and then here is the goal like in soccer. So you can also, it can be a good resource for teachers. And this one could be like for like an advanced student, it's easier to see than the first one, OSDIC, because it's just the way the layout is a little bit easier to see. The other one has a lot of information, which is helpful, but probably better for teachers or really advanced students. Scale is also a really good one. It's the same idea. You can find, and this one has the BNC, British National Corpus, different websites, and Wikipedia. So it has examples from Wikipedia as well. But it's the same idea. You type a word and then it tells you the collocations, most frequent words that go with it. One really nice one is NetSpeak that I did not know, had never heard of before I did this project. So it's also based on a corpus. I do not know what the corpus is. It doesn't tell us anywhere, so I don't know what kind of texts they used, but still for simple activities with students, it works really well. So for example, if you type here, come down with, and then a question mark, or even two question marks, then it tells you two words. So then it tells you with what usually follows that expression, or come down with the flu, with a cold, with the disease. So those are common things. You can also use the dots to find, because the question mark only finds one word, and the three dots finds many different words. So here, like the something off, then you can see, oh, the end of, the number of, the use of, those are very common expressions with the blank off, like that template. So that is a really nice one too that you can play with. Another website that
Guys,
Whoops.
leave her alone.
Okay, I will mute it here. And another website, where is Phrase It? Here, Phrase It is really helpful, I think, if you're teaching more advanced classes. I would say like probably high intermediate to advanced. And if you're teaching a word and you want to find authentic examples of that word, and you can go to Youglish, that is one, but here is Phrase It is written language. So for example, I was teaching the difference between barely and almost this week, and my students were very confused. So then if you type here barely, then it shows you examples from the news, from different websites in which that word is used. And you can find that in a corpus as well. But here they have complete sentences. If you look for concordance lines, the sentences are not complete. So sometimes it's difficult for a student to understand why the sentence is cut out. But here it has the complete sentence, so you can select some to show in your classes. Someone wrote something. Oh, okay. So that is Phrase It. Any questions so far? No? Okay. And okay, I'm going to show you one more and then we'll go to activities. There is one called Vocabulary Kitchen. I'm not sure why it's called Vocabulary Kitchen, but it's a very interesting website. So it's called Vocabulary Kitchen, and you put the text here. So I'm gonna copy and paste the text that I used with my students this week. So I copied and pasted here. You have to have it in the computer somewhere because you have to copy and paste it. And then you can, for example, I'm teaching academic English, and I want to see which words from this text are commonly used in academic contexts. So those are the words that I want to prioritize. So then you click here where it says AWL, that's the academic word list based on the 2000 academic word list, and then it highlights the academic words for you. And it also, if you click on table, then it gives you only the words here. So those are some words you can prioritize. There is also this other one, CEFR. It explains, I don't remember what it's, okay, it says here what it stands for. It's a Common European Framework of Reference of Languages. And even though we don't use it very often in here, I don't think, but it's nice because it paints, it gives different colors to the words, and then it shows you which words are easier to teach and harder to teach based on frequency. So those are like A1 words. So then you can also see if if the text is too hard or too easy for your students. If they are all blue, then it means that they may be too easy for an intermediate or advanced student. But if they are like all red, then it may be too difficult for a beginning level student. So that is also a really nice resource. Okay, and I don't know, is there anybody here who teaches really advanced writing classes? Like if you teach at PCC, it would be higher than level 8, would be probably, I don't know, writing 115 level, or does anybody? No, okay, so never mind. But if you do ever, this Collocate is really nice. You copy and paste the text in there, and it suggests collocations that you can use to make the writing more academic and more sophisticated. But it's very difficult, even for our level 8 students at PCC, it would be too overwhelming. So I guess, but if you are interested, it's called Collocate. So those are some highlights of the teaching tools and ideas. Anybody has any questions? Okay, and now here is the last. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm curious about that prefixes and suffixes website. I just saw that I'm teaching that very little reading class.
Let me go back to it. Do you remember what it was under? Oh, here.
There it is. Yeah, number 8.
Yeah, so this one is called is part of the LexLutor. Do you know this website, Lexical Tutor? Lexical Tutor is a really, really nice website. It's been out there for a long time. It has wonderful, wonderful things that you can do with it. The only problem is that the person who created the website, and don't get me wrong, I'm really thankful that this person created this website. I've used it a lot and it's free, but the layout, it's so hard to see. And that is one thing that um, that could be improved. I think that more people would use it, but it has lots of different things that you can do with it if you want to explore. It's lextutor.ca. It's a Canadian website, but if you, I don't remember, we can put it here how you work. So I just copied and pasted a text in there, and then it divides it by prefixes and suffixes. So
cool. Thanks.
right, it's cool. There is another one here that is also helps you find word families. So it's also part of the Lex Tutor, but see, like the layout, it's just not something that you want to work on. But once you start using the website, you're like, wow, it has like wonderful, wonderful things. But for example, if you type the word instruction here, did I misspell instruction? Yes, I did. If you type the word instruction, then it tells you the word family. So that is kind of nice, I think, when you're teaching a class, right? You're like, oh, instruction, okay, what? And then you can easily see, because it's hard to think about all the family of the words. So that is under teaching ideas and tool. I mean, sorry, under teaching ideas and tools. And then the last part that I wanted to show you is vocabulary activities. So I wish I had another term to work on it, because putting it all together took one whole term, and then when I started working on activities, then I ran out of time, so I don't have as many as I wanted. I did this project at PSU, and some students from the master's program, including Rachel, who is here, helped with develop some activities based on the corpus tools that I compiled, the website that I compiled. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you Rachel's activity since she is here. So remember the website I showed you where you can find the most common phrasal verbs and their meanings. So Rachel and Aaron looked at that website, and they created a phrasal verb of the day. So if you're teaching a PCC, probably level 5-ish or level 6, so then it would be like an intermediate, high intermediate, low intermediate, I guess, intermediate class. Then you could start the class, a communication class, for example, with the phrasal verb of the day. So then towards the end of the term, they will have learned 20 different phrasal verbs. So what they did was they got the most common phrasal verbs, and then they had sentences with them. So then it would be the first one, and then this is the second day of class. And then every 5 days or so, then there is a review. And it's based on the most common phrasal verbs in academic, in spoken language, and also their meanings, the common meanings. So this is ready. You can download and use. Here is another activity that that Lara did, one of the also the master MA students at PSU. So she looked at the that list of words that I showed you that is by level. And she looked at the A1 words, the words that are very common and very basic, like really beginning level. And she created a listening activity for a level 1 class or level 2 class at PCC. So like beginning level. And okay, it's coming. So the activity is really simple. Okay, it's coming, sorry. When I have Zoom on, I don't know if it happens to you, everything is really slow. So it's a conversation between two people at the bus stop. and they have to listen. And I mean, after they do the pre-listening and all that, they have to listen and choose the correct answer. And but here is the dialogue, and she used kind of, which is one of the most common expressions in spoken language, like kind of tired, like like even though it sounds like something that would be more advanced, she used it in a very big, beginning lesson. And then she has here kind of tired, not tired, very tired, kind of tired. So it's something that a level 1 or level 2 student would be able to understand. And they are being exposed to something that is so common, and that sometimes we wait until they are in higher levels of our program to teach, but they're going to be listening to it all the time. So that is why not take the opportunity to teach it in a supported environment that you can show them. A lot of is also a very common expression. So she has here a little, a lot. So um, so that is one activity. This one is interesting. I used the NetSpeak website, the one that I showed you. I don't know if it's still here. The one that you type an expression and then it completes it for you. So here is a dialogue. So this would be for probably an intermediate or high intermediate level class. So then it has a dialogue, and then they have to go to NetSpeak. At first, the students have to guess what they think the word could be in there to fill in the blanks, and then they go to NetSpeak and then they type the expression, and then they have to find out what the word is. So, for example, pay attention. So they go to is it the so then, oh, pay attention to. So then they know that here is pay attention to your health. So then they can also see if they were correct. So they can learn how to be more independent learners by us guiding them with an activity like that. And here is the last one. It's a club activity. And this is the student from the master's program at PSU who created it, and it's for an intermediate level class. And this is actually like a 1 hour class, like materials for a 1 hour class. It's teaching students about clubs and using a lot of the words that are very common expressions that he found on the corpus, and it's coming. So it's about school clubs, like what they are, what they mean, and they have it has a dialogue. And then too busy, like having the to before an adjective is a very common word, and a bit less too bad. So he has this is the focus of the class along with the club idea. So it has a whole like materials for a full 1 hour class here, based on vocabulary that was found on the corpus. So this is what the website looks like for people who came late. Here is, I don't know if you can see the chat, but here is the website. And I think it ends at 11:30, right? So then we have some time for questions if anybody has any questions, ideas, maybe something that you saw here to like, oh, I'm gonna use it in my class for this purpose. Yeah, Julie?
Hi. Are there going to be any more of these? Like you were saying, you wish you had another term to work on it, but I'm going to be teaching level 3 next term. Is there any way to get like level 3 listening activities added?
That would be great. Yeah, Probably not for next term, but when I teach different classes, then I'm trying to incorporate some activities, and then I'll make them available there. Jennifer Snyder, Elise McLean, and I are working on an OER for a vocabulary class, the vocabulary 1 class at PCC, and we've been using a lot of Corpus resources in there, so that will become available. But it's hard to create activities for. I wish I had another term, because that was my project when I proposed it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna compile all the websites and things, and then I'll create activities, right, based on them. But just the compilation part, it took a lot of time, like reading articles and finding where things are. And sometimes an article would say, oh, there is this really nice resource, but then you couldn't find it anywhere. So just the compilation part was almost the full term.
Yeah.
But if you do use it and you have activities, please share, and then I can add it there for other people.
Will do.
Yeah, Phil?
You've talked about several different corporate sites. Do you restrict a class to using one site or another site, or do you have them just going to 5, 6, 7 sites during the semester? And if so, does that create confusion?
Yeah, so I don't teach very advanced classes, right? At PCC, our highest level is level 8, and then after that, students go to writing 115. So if I were teaching like writing 115, writing 121, it would be probably a different story. But for my context, the simpler the better. So I usually choose one website that they're going to be working on, and if they are low intermediate, like beginning to low intermediate, I don't even give them a website. I use the websites myself to prepare lessons, but it's too confusing, like for an intermediate level student to see concordance lines and not see the beginning and the ending of the sentences and things. So like for beginning levels, I use it to select vocabulary, but I don't show them the website. But for example, NetSpeak is one that is really easy to use and very simple. So that could be something that you could work with your students, but I wouldn't introduce more than one for an intermediate level class. It's very, for me, in my opinion, at least, I think it's too overwhelming. But sometimes when I'm teaching a new word and my students are confused, then I want to see different contexts, different ways the word is used, so then it informs me as a teacher a lot. Yeah. Any other?
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yes, you can spend hours, and it's also nice to have your own texts. You know, when you write, copy and paste it into different websites, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm using this word a lot. Actually, that's something I do with my level 8 students at PCC. So the level before writing 115, I have them copy and paste their texts into. Oh, do you know the vocabulary profile? No, okay. So we have a few minutes. I can show you the vocabulary profile is another website that I did not highlight in here. This is a great website for a more advanced. It doesn't have to be very advanced, but like something before writing 115 would work. So this is how I usually find it, vocabulary profiler. And it's also part of the Lex Tutor website. So the one that the layout is not very nice, but if you see, it's not the most inviting website, but it does wonderful things. So if you have a chance to give it a chance, I think you will enjoy it. So my students copy and paste their text here. So I'll just use, oops, now I lost it. Where is the text that I was working on here? So the students copy and paste their essays, right? I'll just use one that text that I was using with my class, but the students copy and paste their essays here, and then they submit. And then they can see that the website divides their text into different categories of words. So the blue ones are the K1 words. So they are the most common, among the thousand most common words in English. So of course, a text has to have a lot of those, right? Because like articles, prepositions, all these words are common words. And then green is K2, so from 1001 to 2000. Yellow are AWL words. And then red are off list that students sometimes get confused and they think they are wrong. They're not wrong. It's just like they're not so common. Names of people. Sometimes words are misspelled. So it's a great way to find words that are misspelled. So then they can see their text here all highlighted in different colors. And then this is the most interesting part. It tells you how many times you used each word. So I tell my level 8 students that they are using the word people too many times and they don't believe me. But when they see here people 35 times, they're like, oh, I think that the teacher is right. I've been using people too many times. So it's like another type of feedback that they can get. I had a student once also who saw the percentage of academic words was really high. And he was like, yeah, see, my academic vocabulary is great. And then when we looked here, he had only one word, environment, and he used it 25 times. Like, okay, see, there is another way looking at things. So he wasn't happy anymore. But that is something that is kind of fun to even put our own texts in here and see how we can improve our own texts when we write. Sometimes we don't see that we are repeating words too many times, but this is something fun to do with level 8 students at PTC, like high advanced writers, I think. Okay, any other comments, questions? We have 2 minutes.
I guess I'll say something. As a grad student at PSU right now, I'm in a Methods 2 class, and I really wish this was part of the course curriculum that we would be covering. So I was really grateful that I had the opportunity to work with you last winter term on this project, Luciana, to just get exposed to how you can design lesson materials based on this research, because it eliminates a lot of the guesswork, and we can kind of like question even the textbook, like these types of vocabulary lists and things that we have in textbooks, like we can verify those using these resources, which are amazing.
Right, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And also if you are creating OERs, like I get a lot of teachers are creating OERs right now, so the websites can inform a lot, like material writers, I think. So then, like you said, it can eliminate guesswork.
Thank you so much, Luciana, for sharing all of your information, and so cool to see all of those examples and Rachel's comments there at the end, putting that into practice.
All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
Bye.
great. Really great.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.